Hello movie fans, great to see your wonderful faces here. Let's dive into some of the movie news we gotta discuss here today. Some of the things we're gonna be talking about here is how Kraven the Hunter is gonna be portrayed in the solo Sony movie that just baffles me. Kevin Feige talking about the next phase in the MCU, how currently right now we should see the clues for the next big event. Halloween Ends being a lot different than we thought. Jason Blum talking some Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, it is a good day to be here, guys. But we're gonna be talking about that along with so much more, so be sure you guys are giving me your opinions down below with what we discuss here. But alright, diving straight into it here, we had Netflix today release a full-length trailer for Stranger Things Volume 2. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up, not only because I really like the latest season so far, and I'm really interested to see how they're going to end things off with just 2 more episodes. Granted, the total runtime of these episodes put together is 4 hours. Still, it was when watching this latest trailer that I must say is fantastic. Like, if you're a fan of Stranger Things, you're looking forward to this final 2 episodes, this is gonna give you goosebumps, all the emotions. I was feeling it while watching it, but it also just got me thinking, like, Netflix, they need to be doing stuff like this more often, because if Stranger Things had have come out already when it was supposed to and the entire season dropped, we would not be talking about this thing anymore. The lifespan of these Netflix shows are just laughable. Sometimes you'll have your rare phenomenons like a Tiger King, Squid Games. Well, yes, people will maybe talk about it for 2-3 weeks, but the hype just always quickly died down. With this latest season of Stranger Things, like, man, I've just seen nothing but people just getting hyped, making speculations, fan theories out there. Constantly on my social channels, I'm just seeing Stranger Things love here and there, and I'm like, this would not be happening if we already knew how the season ended. But because we don't, it just creates all this buzz. And heck, it must be worth it for Netflix, because some of y'all must be seeing the loads of Stranger Things marketing out there. Stranger Things is like the only Netflix shows that gets marketed that heavily with merch. So the thing I really wanted to bring up with you guys, not only are you excited from this latest trailer for the final 2 episodes of Stranger Things, but do you think Netflix will learn from this and go, maybe the next season we also need to split in 2 or 3 parts, keep that buzz going, or will they just return, just dropping the whole thing at once? Moving on to the next thing here I want to discuss is we have Aaron Taylor Johnson, the star of the Kraven the Hunter movie, talking about how he's going to portray Kraven the Hunter, and Sony, you trying to pull another Morbius?
Intriguing.
In this interview with Aaron Taylor Johnson talking about his version of Kraven the Hunter, he described him as an animal lover and protector of the natural world, letting you know that Sony is very much doing something different here than what Kraven is usually known for, and is again turning another villain into an anti-hero. I don't know how you see the name Kraven the Hunter and you think, that guy loves animals, let me tell you. Like, this guy's signature comic book costume is him making a vest out of the head of a lion. If that screams animal lover to you, Sony, I need to see all your dogs now. It's just the thing that Sony keeps doing with these solo villain films. Why do they feel the need to make them turned into a misunderstood hero that went down a darker path, but deep down inside they're a good person, they want to do what's right, it's just society has ruined them. People always argue with Venom and Morbius, at least there's a little bit of comic book context out there that shows they were anti-heroes, but still, we know Sony is building these people up because they want to do some weird multiverse crossover where they'll eventually somehow fight Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and it's like, why? You're describing this guy as someone who loves animals, wants to protect the natural world. You already know he's not going to have a comic book accurate costume. Then again, we're about to get the 3rd Venom movie and boy still doesn't have the white spider on him. And look, I want to be clear, I'm still going to give the movie a chance. I'm going to watch it. It's Spider-Man related. Yeah, I know, I'm a terrible person. And there's nothing wrong with trying to do something different. Heck, even on the MCU side of things, recently with a lot of their newer heroes, they've changed their origins. They're doing something different. Shang-Chi with the 10 rings and that being the source of his powers. Same thing with Miss Marvel and kind of getting her powers started through a bracelet. And not necessarily these embiggening powers that she's known for. But to me, the MCU has earned the trust from fans to try something new, to do something different, because they've produced quality. With these solo Sony villain Spider-Man movies, the best thing I've said out of them is they're okay. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, I'm gonna give it a chance. I'll see how it goes. But Kraven the Hunter turned animal lover, why? Let me know what you guys think about this, and does this still make you excited for the solo Kraven the Hunter movie? Jumping back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe here, we recently had Kevin Feige teasing his plans for the rest of Phase 4 and Phase 5 to come, saying, we should kind of see the hints of what's coming. In a recent interview with Total Films, Kevin Feige went ahead and said, "As we're nearing the end of Phase 4, I think people will start to see where this next saga is going. I think there have been many clues already that are at least apparent to me of where this whole saga is going, but we'll be a little bit more direct about that in the coming months to set a plan so audiences who want to see the bigger picture can see a tiny bit more of the roadmap." And with Kevin Feige mentioning in the coming months we'll see this bigger picture, it's him basically confirming at D23 this September we're most likely going to get a whole new slate of films and shows announced, giving us the idea of this bigger picture. On my TikTok, I mentioned that Phase 4 is coming to an end, and I had people attacking me, going crazy, saying, "What, Phase 4 just started, you idiot." But Kevin Feige here says it himself. It's coming to an end. We really only have 1 year left of Phase 4, and that's because the pandemic did move or change a lot of things for the MCU. Fantastic Four, Blade, those are movies that are now going to be part of Phase 5. That's something that Kevin Feige has already come out and said. So really, after next year, Phase 4 is done, and a lot of MCU fans were kind of going crazy, going, wait, doesn't every phase end with like an Avengers movie or a team-up movie? And it looks like Phase 4 was the first time that didn't end up happening, which brought up a lot of complaints from fans going that this whole phase was just useless, was going nowhere, was just random movie after random show. But Kevin Feige's making it very clear. He set up the clues already. They're there. We just don't know the bigger picture yet. And really the only consistent thing I'm seeing over and over from shows to movies is like multiverse and variant characters, right? Because we got that in Loki, we got that in Spider-Man No Way Home, we got that in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. It's the build up to the Secret Wars movie, but I feel like it's gonna be even more than that. Still, it's just kind of exciting to hear from Kevin Feige himself that we will see this bigger picture in just a few months. By the end of this year, we'll have a whole new perspective on the MCU. That's gonna be fun. So I throw it off to you guys. What do you think are the current clues in the MCU, if it's not the multiverse of variant characters, that could lead to the bigger picture and this team-up movie? Maybe Young Avengers? Moving on, talking about some horror stuff here, we had some interesting details being let loose by Jason Blum, who of course many of you know runs Blumhouse Studios. And he's currently right now doing a bunch of interviews promoting his movie Black Phone, which I actually get to see tonight, so I'll have a review for you guys tomorrow. And the interviewer asked him about the chances of making a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot and what he would want to do with that, specifically if he could get Robert Englund to return in the role. And Jason Blum replied with, "I can make him come back." Blum tells Screen Rant, "I can get anyone back. I mean, Ellen Burstyn was 87. I got her back in the upcoming sequel to The Exorcist. 75. He's young," Blum continues, referring to England. Now, usually I wouldn't bring up articles or news topics like this where someone says, "Yeah, I would love to do a movie like that," but there's no concrete evidence of that movie happening. But with Nightmare on Elm Street, it's kind of different, because back in 2019, before the pandemic, we had heard that the Wes Craven estate regained the rights to Freddy Krueger and A Nightmare on Elm Street. And with them having those rights, they were taking pitches and hearing out story ideas for either making a new movie or TV show, meaning they've been wanting to do something new with Freddy Krueger, but I guess nothing just ever came of it. And really, with Blumhouse out there and this being public knowledge in Hollywood that they're trying to make something Nightmare on Elm Street going, I really have a strong belief that Blumhouse is at least attempting to be part of that, is wanting to be the people behind a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot, and that would be super exciting. But I gotta admit, I'm a little cautious about whether they should bring back Robert Englund. Don't get me wrong. Don't start hating on me. I love Robert Englund. He is right now my favorite horror icon. Oh, you guys are not ready for the day we get an official announcement of Nightmare on Elm Street, because that news, I'm gonna go crazy on this channel when that happens. But there is sort of like this energy and vibe that Freddy Krueger should have when he's on screen, and I think 75-year-old Robert Englund, I just don't know if it would feel the same way. If he's back and they do it, alright, I'm gonna check it out and I'm gonna be pumped for it, and I hope they surprise me, but I'm not against someone new trying to be Freddy Krueger. In fact, I thought Jackie Earle Haley, who was Freddy Krueger in the reboot, was gonna do a fantastic job, but I blame that all on the script and story he was given, not really giving him the freedom to be different in that role and instead just be in the shadow of Robert Englund. I definitely think there is someone out there that could capture a new version of Freddy Krueger that would be so interesting to watch and different from what Robert Englund did. So we'll really have to wait and see, but I wanted to throw that off to you guys. If Blumhouse manages to get their hands on Nightmare on Elm Street, reboot that property, would you like 75-year-old Robert Englund to wear that mask one more time? Because if he does, it probably would only be for one more time. He's mentioned it before. It'd be a one-time thing, and like with Halloween, they would want to make at least 3 new movies. Or would you be open to someone new stepping into that fedora? Continuing here, talking about more Blumhouse properties, Halloween Ends. Like, this is the horror movie I'm still really curious to find out more about this year, and we do have some updates that could either be really scary or maybe interesting. Now, first up, I do want to mention it was being reported earlier that we should be seeing the first trailer for Halloween Ends during Black Phone's release. But recently, more scoopers have started coming out and saying that Blumhouse is actually going to delay or wait on the trailer for Halloween Ends somewhere closer to maybe Nope coming out. This is apparently because the movie's going to do some reshoots or it's just not fully ready. So that's kind of a bummer. We have to wait a little bit longer for a Halloween Ends trailer. But as far as details on this new movie and what we can expect, it sounds like they're going a very different route. We have here from viewer Annan, who's become a super reliable source on the channel. They have been very spot on with details involving the Scream series, or even when the new Texas Chainsaw Reboot was coming out. I haven't really seen them get anything wrong, so I trust this source a lot. And this week, they said here, Halloween Ends goes back for reshoots in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure how much it'll change, but as of now, from what I know, it's not just a Michael Myers kills a lot of people and Laurie Strode has to stop him sort of movie. There are other factors and threats at play. The movie has not had a public test screening. What I know is based on script information. I'm privy to and some sources working on the film in various capacities, but right now it's more interested in the boogeyman than just Michael Myers. Basically, this is an early 4-month out call to ready yourselves for something different, and don't just hate it because it's different. They made their Carpenter love letter in Halloween 2018 and their ultimate slasher movie in Halloween Kills. This is going a different way. And that's something I definitely wanted to bring to your guys' attention and start getting us into that mindset. Halloween Ends is not going to be the typical Michael Myers slasher we are expecting. It looks like they're going to do something different with this movie, but I have no idea what. Like, are they trying to give us an A24 Michael Myers movie? You know, something like elevated horror? Is this maybe the first Michael Myers movie where Michael Myers himself is not the main threat? Because he mentioned up here, there are other factors and threats at play. I don't know why, but my mind goes to that new group of kids they introduced in Halloween Kills in those flashback scenes. As soon as they introduced those kids, I just knew those little brats were going to become some crappy important adults in the future. What if there's people using the Michael Myers excuse to dress up and go on a killing spree, and now we don't know who the real Michael Myers is? I don't know, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting here with them mentioning here that this movie is more about the boogeyman than just Michael Myers. The only other time something like this has happened in the Halloween world was with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. That was a very different Michael Myers movie. Like, it was a typical slasher film for the first like 15 minutes. And then from there it turned into a character study on Laurie Strode, her trauma, and then eventually unmasking Michael Myers, having them speak, at least in the version I saw. If you know this channel, you know, not a big fan of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I like his first one, but heck, that is what happens when you try to do something different than a typical slasher. So I'm gonna be cautious, but you know what? Very optimistic. We've gotten, what, like 12 different Halloween movies that are always slasher films. I'm down for something different. I just hope it can work. Really would love to know your guys' thoughts and theories how this movie can be different and not your typical slasher film. What do you think the story could be here? But that is all movie news we currently have going on right now, guys. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.